I'm Reverend Dr. Stephanie Redfeather, and this is the third of 3 videos where I'm sharing with you the concept of the shamanic death, also known as a psychic death or a symbolic death, which all of us on this planet are united in going through this shamanic death simultaneously. And while it may not affect each one of us the same way, we are all collectively going through it together. There is an understanding that may not even be at a conscious level that is reminding us of our connection to all of our human brothers and sisters on this planet. There have been a lot of statements that sound like, when this is over, we're going to get back to the way things were. When this is over, I can't wait to go back to how we were, back to the good old days when things were good. It'll be okay again. We just need to get back to how it was. I invite you to not be hasty in just blindly going back to how things were as a complete set. We are being given an exquisite opportunity to reassess everything. In this death process, in our personal and collective death processes, we are dying to something. We are dying to old beliefs, old patterns, old ways of relationship, old structures, old processes, old values. By nature, that means that we're not going to go back to the way things were. There is something new. And I understand, I have the same fears. I have the same need for safety and security and assurance that you do. It is a natural, built-in mechanism in our psyche that we want something predictable, something we know. It creates comfort for us. It creates safety. When we can know what's going to happen, when we can predict it, then we feel more secure in our world. And that's part of what's dying too, is our sense of security and safety in knowing how things have been. They're not going to be that way going forward. And so I feel the fear in myself. I feel the fear in the collective, and it's okay. We're human. It's part of the process. It doesn't mean stay there and get mired in it and trapped there, but please acknowledge your fear. You're human. Being spiritual doesn't mean that we hide or suppress or pretend that we don't have human emotions. Just like I spoke of in the last video, if you don't allow a thing to run its natural course, that doesn't mean become sway to it and let it take over your life and run all of your life's decisions. But if you can allow something to move through you, to give itself its expression, it will come to its own natural conclusion. I promise it will. Everything does. Every emotion, if given an opportunity to express, will not express endlessly and forever. So given that, it's really important that we have this framework and understanding of our psyche, our human need for safety and security. Going back to how things were is not going to happen. And I find a great deal of hope in that. And so what I would encourage you to do, to the degree that you can, is to consciously vision, what do you want instead? As leaders on every level, whether you own a business or have people working for you or are a supervisor or not, you are a leader of your own life. You're a leader of some sort in your family structure, whether you have children or not. You're still a model to others. And so I invite every human being, every person in a position of leadership, to take this opportunity and go, what can we create anew? What is a new structure that can support us more fully? this is, we are, whether we wanted it or not, we are being given this opportunity of dismantling. Okay, there's another term called shamanic dismemberment. And so oftentimes in a death process, when we're personally going inward, we experience a dismemberment where literally we are being ripped apart. Some people even have waking visions or dream visions of an animal coming and tearing them apart. And it's just our psyche giving us an acknowledgement that we are being dismembered, that we are having our old structures torn apart for the purpose of being reassembled in a new way that's going to support us more fully moving forward. So assess everything, move through this with as much consciousness as you can. You can make a change in your own life. There are times when I feel completely impotent, when I look at the nation and the world and think, how can I shift that? How can I how can I counteract the momentum of some of the things that have been put in motion for decades or centuries? But you can make an effect in your own life. You can have the power in your own life and in your own family systems, and change begins within. So I invite you, be conscious. Don't be in a hurry to go back to the way things were. Look at the way things were and have the courage. It takes courage to look at each individual component and go, that still serves me. That still works for me. I want that in my new world. I'm going to take that and set my intention, and this is going to be part of my new structure. This thing, however, I think there's a better way to do it. I think there's a new way. I think there's a more harmonious way that is in more alignment with my values or where I want to go. So I'm going to consciously acknowledge this thing, thank it for how it served me, and let it die. So I hope this has been helpful to you so that you can consciously work with the energies of these cycles and know that after death, there is birth. And so right now, we're very much in the throes of death. All of us. We are grieving, we are screaming, we are crying, we are wailing, we are feeling unsafe, we are feeling unmoored, we are in uncharted territory. This is all part of the concept of a psychic death. And it will come to its own natural conclusion, and there will be a rebirth. And how conscious can you be in visualizing and creating and manifesting this new world on the other side? I'm Reverend Dr. Stephanie Redfeather, and if you want to find out more about me and the work that I do, please visit my website, bluestartemple.org.